So
it'd be very interesting
the
if somebody
Republican
brought
chairman
charges.
of the Senate Intel Committee, back to the first story.
Back to
It's hard to keep track of the disgrace. Richard Burr told the New York Times, quote, "It was something along the lines of, I hope you can conclude this as quickly as possible." Burr said that he replied that it would end when the committee finished its interviews. Burr said he did not feel pressured by Trump's appeal, portraying it as the action of someone who has, quote, never been in government. Lawmakers and aides said Trump told Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Can I stop there for a second?
Yeah, I mean.
So never been in government. I know Richard Burr, and Richard Burr, Heidi, I believe, I've called out my party a lot, but I believe he has been acting honorably in a bipartisan way with Mark Warner. He's been, I think, over this past year, one of the best of the Republicans actually keeping their head down and doing their work. But when he says it reminds me of somebody who had not been in government before. That's the same way as saying, you know what?
The multimedia marketplace.
He's just ignorant.
But
he
you know
doesn't
what, Joe?
know what he's doing.
That was the same thing that we saw when the Intel chiefs as well came before Congress, right? Was how, well, I didn't feel pressured, but these things happened. And what we're seeing here is a portrait of multiple pressure points now, because it wasn't even just the head of the Intel committees. He got multiple members of that committee, other members of Congress, to then try and pressure Burr. And there was a pattern here. The words that were used: time to move on.
Right.
And so you see here a pattern where he's also cornering people on the plane. Blunt was cornered on the plane. And to me, one of the most telling parts of that article was also that in Mitch McConnell's words, you could see through these interactions that this president was not able to separate out the fact that Russia needed to be punished for this interference from the fact that his campaign was under investigation for collusion. He couldn't separate the two, and that's why you see this almost bitterness by this president every time the issue of Russia comes up, and that he had to even sign those sanctions into effect.